Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, wait a minute. Who said that? Wait, I missed it. Who said that?
A person.
A person. Okay, Amanda. Great, great. Thank a person. I love it. No, I'm not trying to single you out. I'm excited by the hellos. You will see why in a minute. Good afternoon, Yavi. I think, and tell me, this is an opportunity, please, to correct my mispronunciation of your names. I think that's Yavi. No, yes, which is. And hello, Cheska. Oh, I love it. Oh, we're happening already. All right, great. Okay, wait a sec. Well, first of all, let me say hello, Melita, or correct me my pronunciation, but no, it was all right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, okay, great. All right, great. Thank you. So, hello, Melita. Hello, Alonzo. And hello, good afternoon,
Hello.
Yavi. Oh, hello. All right. All right. Oh, we've got voices and everything. This is almost human, people. Hello, Christopher. Good afternoon. Until we said good afternoon, Matthew. More people are coming in. Good afternoon, Matthew. Hello, Avani. Hello, Michelle. More people coming in. And I know I saw Marilyn for like 1 second when she was in the waiting room for a million years. Who else? Okay. And hello, who else? Hello. Who else did I not say? Michelle, if I didn't say hi, you. Hello, hello. Again, please correct my pronunciation. People mispronounce my name all the time, as you can imagine. Welcome. This is physics. Oh, it's not that. Well, it is that, but pardon me. Hold on. It is. Okay, it is. Yes, it's physics 203. If you're looking for physics 203, you're in the right place. And if you're here by accident, that's strange. And it is section 01. Glad you guys are here. More people coming in. Okay, hold on. Okay. More people coming in. Hello. Okay, well, wait a second. 1, 2. Okay. And hello, Amanda. Thank you for saying hello. You're going to find out, all of you, that I really do appreciate the hellos, and I think it makes a difference, and you're going to see why. And you, believe it or not, well, you might have already figured this out if you look through the Google Classroom. You actually get points for these hellos, as crazy as that might sound, but it's true, and I'll explain that today. Who else have I not said hello to? I think I've said hello to them. And it's not to put anybody on the spot. It's to make this course as human as we can. So, all right, we have a bunch of stuff to introduce ourselves to today, including introducing ourselves to one another. I'm more people coming. Hang on. Okay, is that hello, Freddie? If I didn't say hello yet, maybe I did. Not sure. And if I didn't say hello to somebody, let me know. Hello, Yiyun. If I'm saying it correctly, please tell me if I'm not. Hello, all of you. Okay. So this is physics 203. This is remote synchronous, as you can tell. Like we're going to go over. I think if you're in this room, that means you got at least one email from me last night, and it means you followed the instructions of the email already. So you're already doing something right. I'm very pleased. I appreciate that. If you got 2 emails from me last night, then you might understand that in physics at John Jay, there is no meaningful distinction between lecture and recitation, for good or for bad. They don't mean anything. In fact, we don't have actually a separate recitation period, like in addition to our normal meeting times. So just to be as clear as possible, from here on in, on Mondays and Wednesdays, we all meet together here at 3:05. I mean, at this Zoom room at 3:05, all Mondays and Wednesdays, I mean, except holidays, blah, 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 of course. They're both here. They're both with me. Hopefully, as we get rolling, they'll both feel more like recitations. I mean, even though I am the instructor, but hopefully they'll feel more like recitations. That is, hopefully most of the time we're going to be going over problem solving, going over solutions on this whiteboard that you can see here, talking about homework, it will generally be after you've made an attempt at the homework, not before. So we'll get used to that. But and the more you all participate, which we'll talk about, the more you participate, the more it'll feel like a recitation, not a lecture. That's a little bit in your hands. But whatever it feels like to you as we go on, whatever the classes feel like to you, they're not going to feel any different on Monday or Wednesday, or not on purpose anyway. They're basically it's just two different 75-minute meeting times for the one big non-lab portion of this course. Okay, so I just want to make that clear first. And it is synchronous. Oh, good. Oh, okay, great. Oh, thank you. All right, cool. I wasn't even sure if that was good news, but and I'm totally, you're going to see that Christopher, thank you for the feedback, Christopher. I don't even know if he's kidding or not, but it doesn't even matter. Like, you're going to see that Christopher should right now, all of you, if you even said hello in the chat, if you even said hello, you should take a screenshot of that right now. You're going to see where you're going to get points for that. The fact that he actually made a comment, that Christopher made a comment in the chat, happens to sound positive to me, but even if it were, which I appreciate, but even if it were negative, you're going to see he's going to get an opportunity to get points for that. You're going to see there's a lot of different ways to get points that count in your grade for various different ways that people can actually stay engaged and stay participating in this synchronized class. You will see, and even those of you who are quiet by nature, or don't like showing video or whatever, that's all fine. Nothing is mandatory. I'm not forcing anybody to show video or anything like that. But you will see that any possible way that you can think of how you might possibly show engagement in real time in the class, there's a way for you to get points for it. Even, for example, people who just like take serious notes, like they don't want to talk, but they're taking serious notes and really listening. There's a portal you'll see, you may already have noticed, there's a portal for those people to submit their notes to, multiple times and get points and recognition for that fact alone. I'm already jumping ahead, but I just want to make it clear that any possible way that a person participates in this class, including making comments in the chat or making comments about other people's comments, as long as it's constructive, like various different ways, or showing video, like for example, and I'm not trying to single anybody out, but well, at least one person right now is showing video. I think that's terrific. I really appreciate it. It's not mandatory. I think it shows guts that she's doing that. I'm not trying to call attention to it, but I think it's great, and I think it's really helpful. Let me say right now, there's a portal that I'll show you in a second if you don't already see it. There's a portal where she could take a screenshot today of the fact that she showed video for even like a minute. She could take a screenshot of that, put it in this portal in the Google Classroom, and she'll get points for that. She could do it again tomorrow and get more points again tomorrow, or anybody could. Not her. And the reason I'm bringing that up right now is here's one reason that people sometimes don't show video. The reason that a lot of people don't show video is they might be thinking, well, that's great. Now he noticed that one person. Now he's calling attention to it. Now that person is trapped. We all know who, Ms. Oppenheim, who is doing something terrific. I'm not trying to single her out, but I'm just saying I think it's terrific she's showing video. What if I were her right now? I might be thinking, oh, great, that was a dumb call on my part, because now everybody's like, now he notices. Now, if I turn off my video, it'll be super clear that I'm not paying attention anymore, like I'm going to feed the dog or whatever. Whereas anybody else, if they weren't showing video the whole time, no one knows what they're doing. No, let me say right now, any moment that anybody ever shows video is good and helpful and gutsy, and it does not obligate them to keep it on. If at any moment now, if Melita turns off her video, she's just like everybody else. It's no problem. Well, honestly, same thing with, I'm just getting straight to it. Same with Alonzo, for example. And I will never, oh, thank you, Christopher. All right. Oh, Christopher, see, he's got tons of points already in this class. All right. And seriously, I'm also going to tell you right now, I know I'm singling people out right now, which is like an awkward thing to do. I will never, ever, to my knowledge, ever single anybody out when I think it's anything negative at all. I'm only ever calling people's names when I think something's positive is going on that everybody can benefit from. And it does not, look at this. Oh, see, it's working. Oh, peer pressure. See, all right, awesome. No, and thank you. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Yi-Yun. Tell me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Melita. And again, if any of those guys turns off the video at any moment, they could submit screenshots right now for the one moment they just did this, and it's credit worthy. And I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. We all know how hard Zoom is, or how painful, how death-like, remote classes can be. They're very challenging. They're much more challenging to you guys than to me, because I get to keep talking and keeping myself alive and alert. But if I'm in your position, I want to gouge my eyes out. I know that. I'm in faculty meetings, Zoom meetings all the time, and they're death. But anything you can do, even like right now, like thank you, and I'm gonna L Welly, tell me if I'm right, or Mr. Val, like thank you, like he's showing video right now. Here's the thing: even if he turns it off in 2 minutes, at least now I know. Now I know who he is if I see him at my office on campus someday. Like right, like the ice is broken. At least he's a human being now, even for 1 minute. It makes a huge maybe he's gonna rock this course and want to ask for a recommendation at the end of the course, which I'd be delighted to write for tons and tons of you. It'll be a lot easier if we now kind of have a human sense of each other. So I totally appreciate it. I'll get to obviously we have a lot to discuss today. I'll get to it, but I want to say right from the start, most of the time we're going to be synchronous like this. There will be a couple of classes where, because I have a schedule conflict or something, where I'm going to tell you in advance, okay, we can't meet tomorrow as a group. You're going to watch this video instead, like a video of me teaching instead. And even when I do that, it'll be advanced warning. I'll say, I'm sorry, we won't have it today. You're going to watch a video today. And even if you just respond to that communication and you just say to me, yeah, got it, confirmed, I understand, I'm going to watch the video, you're going to get points for that. Anything we can do to keep communicating with each other and staying alive as a group gets points in this class. Not that it's all about points, but come on, it's all about points. Because otherwise, Zoom is death, and we all know this, I think. Anyway, I feel that way. So right now, I'm just trying to tell you, it's going to be synchronous. The more you guys can engage in any way with me, the more you can redirect me and interrupt me and say things in the chat like, this is really interesting, but actually, can we talk about the homework that's supposedly due tomorrow, Yaverbaum? Put that in the chat. I will take it super seriously. If you think that's a little bit too weird for you to do, you could put in the direct chat. I'm a big believer in the private chat. I'm a big believer in that. We'll talk about that too. That totally counts as participation. The more you can redirect me from here on in, the more you can be part of what's going on, the less torturous this will be for all of us. For example, something's that's good. All right, fair enough. Well, if I keep going all right, so Christopher, if I keep going we won't talk about the homework, that's fine. No, yeah, and dare I say, Joe, you know what? I don't think I have a portal literally open yet for literal, straight up jokes, but there's no reason I shouldn't open one up, because they do make life more livable for all of us. These portals, I'm going to explain in a second. But any way that you can engage, there's a portal where you can get points for that. And it's all optional, but it all makes a big difference in your grade if you wanted to. Vote no homework. All right, fair enough. So and even those likes that I don't know when Zoom started to, oh my God, I can even tell who gave him likes. Yeah, by the way, just as long as we're already talking about it. So Christopher's all over the chat, and that's awesome. And he's showing video. So that's awesome. But you know how he just got 4 okay, he's soaring, he's going viral. He got 4 likes already, I think, right? And at least I can see who they are. Can you all see who the likes are? I don't even know that word. I mean, I assume you can. But all these people, including himself, okay, that's a little questionable, yo. No. All these people that are liking Christopher right now, you can take a screenshot of that freaking heart, pardon my language, that freaking icon that you just put in. You can take a screenshot of that, and especially if your name is next to it, which it is on my side, you can take a screenshot of that, and you will see. I'm gonna switch this right now. In fact, I'm just gonna go to it. You'll see that there is a portal in the Google Classroom called Multiplayer Co-op, which is supposed to encourage you guys to collaborate with each other and help each other and respond to each other. Anytime any one of you, in any way that isn't rude, acknowledges something of another one of you, anytime any one of you likes or responds to or helps out another one in the chat, that is called Multiplayer Co-op, and you can submit that for points, and so can the person that you're helping. I'm going to show you this in the Google Classroom in a minute, but I want to start off in this weird tone, in this kind of disorganized tone, and just make it clear to you that the course and the grading system for this course are designed to make it as possible for you to stay with me in this Zoom conversation. And so almost and if there's anything I haven't thought of that's a way for you to participate, you tell me and I'll open up a portal for it. Another quick example. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you the grading system. But another example is like Alonzo, by the way, just so you know, like Alonzo, and not to single him out or him out, but Alonzo is showing what I call an avatar. I don't know what you like. He's showing an image in his right. He doesn't just have a black box with like his name in it. There's an image. Well, that alone is helpful. Like, and I'm not criticizing anybody who's showing a black box. I'm not punishing anybody, I promise you. But I am saying the mere fact that Alonzo is like brightening up my day with a little bit of identification or a little bit of like distinction there and just breaking up the monotony of the black boxes, there's a portal for that called Avatar. He can just submit a screenshot of that and get points for that. Could he do it again tomorrow in the same portal? Yes, he could, et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of, okay, so you get my larger point. So the more I'm babbling, right? I've already babbled for 10 minutes about essentially nothing. If someone put in the chat right now or the direct chat, if they put, could you please move on and get to the homework or something, not to offend Chris, but Christopher, but like if someone put in like, could you please like move on to the next topic? I mean, I would hope you would say it politely, but it's very helpful. And if you do that, there's a portal for that called Please Go Forward. Like, and you can do it privately if you're afraid it might be rude, which it might if you don't do it right. Or if you see, I use a whiteboard here, right? Here's a whiteboard. Yeah, we're going to use this whiteboard all the time for me once we get into real physics, which we will. And I start going over the homework problems and doing solutions and equations and stuff, and it starts going a little bit faster, which it will. If at any moment one of you just wants to say, can you go back a page, please? And even if you're embarrassed and you just want to put that in the direct chat, which you shouldn't be, but even if you don't feel comfortable putting the public chat, you put that in the private chat, you could submit that into a portal that says, please go back. Any of these ways that show that you are trying to stay with me, they all work. And last thing about that, the portals, I mean, I'll explain in more detail. You can double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip. Like if you do something in the chat that a lot of different categories applies to in your judgment, put them in all the categories. It's fine. And you're not trying to prove anything. You're just trying to remind me. You're just submitting for points and then you get the points. All right, so I'm going to go. I hope that's okay. Let's stop for a second. Even though I'm babbling a mile a minute, and I know that, I'm just trying to get you used to the energy in the room and stuff like that. Can you just raise an electronic hand or a real hand right now if what I'm saying so far is clear, even if it's like weird? Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Awesome. All right. And all that counted as participation too. All right, great. So a couple of more, as you can see, I'm very glad to see you here. Did I not say? Okay, great. And you can put your hands down. Oh, I love how the reactions have gotten like animated and stuff. They're so advanced. I mean, Zoom isn't that, anyway, all right, whatever. Okay, so this is Physics 203. I can't imagine you're in the room by accident. I'm Professor Yaverbaum. That rhymes with Cadaver Town, sort of. It doesn't really, but anyway, it's Yaverbaum. I'm the coordinator of all the physics classes. I've been the physics coordinator at John Jay since 2011, I think. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. I've been teaching physics, this material of physics. I've been teaching this physics since 1992, so like over 30 years. And as you can tell, I'm still like a freaked out, jumpy, spazzy, nervous, overexcited guy. Like, I mean, I've done this for 30 years and it never gets boring to me. And it never gets easy either. I mean, aspects of it get easier, of course, but I'm always excited by this. I love teaching physics. I like it. I love working with you all on physics. I love John Jay. I love the science department. I think the science department's really hard. I think this is a whole other subject, but I think if you're even in this class, you have already jumped through some substantial hoops and you've already made some tough life decisions and you've already proven your mettle both in high school and in early college in ways that already separate you from a lot of people in this world. I'm sure you know. You might not know that we know. We know. And especially if you've somehow made it through COVID and you're still standing and you're still in this department, you are to be praised even for being here and getting here. And I am not joking. And I have two sons who trying to get educated. I mean, one of them is basically your age, and they had to learn on Zoom and all that. It's awful. My hat is off to any of you who have chosen science as a path and have put up with the difficulties and challenges of our department, and particularly in COVID. So if you're even here, you already know how to do something. That is clear to me. And I'm excited to be with you. How do you find me? And I'm serious about that. I also want you to do well in this class, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But how do you find me? Well, that's my email address there, the obvious JJ email address. I have another one also, you might have noticed, that is used for Google Classroom. We'll talk about that. I mean, you can reach me another way too, and that's the same thing with Professor Talley and Professor Walters. But that other email address, the jjPhysics email address, that's really for all this Google Classroom stuff. So I like to kind of keep them separate. So this is the more direct, this email right here is the more direct way to reach me. Underneath there is my cell phone. You are welcome to text me. You are. I am a texter, or I mean, I believe in texting. I'm happy to receive texts from you. And there are many conditions where, frankly, I'd rather receive a text than an email. The conditions are the same as they probably are for you. If there's anything, if there is a way that I can reduce your anxiety or stress level quickly, if text is the way to do it, let's do it. What I mean by that is, it comes down to, well, first of all, anytime you text, the first time you text me, please identify yourself, obviously. I mean, say, I'm Cheska, I'm in your Physics 203, section 1 class or whatever. But then after, once, like, you're in my phone, you can and should text me under any circumstance where you have a situation that will take you longer to write out the text question than it will take me to write out the answer. Like, honestly, let me say that again. If it will take you longer to write the question, then it'll take me to write the answer. And if getting an answer very quickly will make you feel better, text me. Examples include such as, like, is the exam tomorrow? Did you post the practice exam? Are you sure that the answer to question 3 is correct? Like, things like, or like in question 4, should I use velocity or speed? Like, if you can phrase your question as like a multiple choice or like a yes, no question that I can just like look at and quickly like answer, and now your heart rate goes down and you don't have to wait for a big email and we're done and we're good and we can move on, by all means, don't wait for an email. Just text me. I'm serious about that. But to make it easy on me, if you're going to ask something about question 3, like, please, like, include a screenshot or whatever. Don't make me like go, whatever, go find it. So what I'm saying, you don't want to text, and you could text any hour, you could text any time. Just understand, if I'm asleep, I just won't hear it and I just won't answer until I'm awake, but it won't ever bother me. I believe if we can solve problems quickly by text, let's do it. If it's dicey or controversial or official, like you want like a paper trail, or you think that, then obviously we should email. But the flip side of this is what you don't want to do. Don't text me and say, I missed the last 2 weeks of class. What did we cover? Like, I missed the last 2 weeks of class. Can you teach me acceleration? Like, no, like, I'm not doing that by text. I hope you understand. But what you could do by text is say, I missed the last 2 weeks of class. Can I set up an appointment with you? Okay. Yes. Okay. So I hope that's clear. So definitely text. I mean, if it can be solved quickly, do it. That's my cell phone number right there. Where I live physically on campus, when I'm on campus, is on the 4th floor. It's a strange room. If you ever are going to come visit me, and I hope you do, you may need an extra reminder of how to find the room. It's in a strange place. But the best time to find me is Tuesdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You don't need an appointment if you come by. I mean, it's best to let me know. It is best to let me know, but that's the best time. I will admit, I'm not on campus a lot other than that these days since COVID. I mean, I feel I actually live far away now, but that's also why I encourage you to text me anytime, and we can make Zoom appointments and phone appointments. I want to be as available as possible electronically. But if you want to find me physically, and I encourage you to do that so we can get to know each other, Tuesdays, 11 to 1 p.m. on the 4th floor is where to do it. And if you're going to come by, just let me know and I'll tell you exactly how to find it, because it's in a weird place. But okay, that's that. Wait, hold on. I'm just looking at the time. There are things I actually want to get done today, believe it or not. Oh yeah. All right. Now, this is a summary of what the course is about. I'm not going to get too, I want to do more, I'm going to do more nitty gritty, like things that you need to know, but just on an overarching, like what physics is about. It's about motion. It's about things moving through space and time. Now, that sounds almost like an overly simple thing to say, but the reason I want to say it right from the start is physics is that simple. Anything that is dealt with by physics, here's something to write down, even though I don't have it on the notes. And there's a portal for this. If you ever write things down that aren't literally on the whiteboard, you can get points for that. Here's something to write down. If you want, any motion that is measurable, reproducible, mathematically analyzable, and therefore predictable, falls within the realm of physics. I'll say that one more time. Any motion of anything through space and time, any motion that is measurable, reproducible, mathematically analyzable, and therefore predictable is physics, or, or falls into physics, or is within the realm of physics. I'm saying that, and I could see people are writing it down. See, this is such an awesome class. We're off to a flying start here, people. Seriously. That is what physics is about. And the reason I just want to say that quickly before we go any further is, first of all, that's what physics is about for any physics course you ever take, including the one that comes after this one, Physics 204. One thing I want, and of course, they're very different courses. They cover very different branches of physics. And in all subsequent physics classes that you might ever take in graduate school or something, they all cover different branches of physics. But the thing that makes them all the same. Oh, sorry. Yes, I can. Thank you. So, okay. Yes, I can repeat that one more time. Okay, I'll repeat that one more time. Yes. Any motion of anything through space and time. So any motion of anything through space and time, but any motion that is four things: measurable, number one, measurable; number two, reproducible; number three, mathematically analyzable; and number four, predictable, is what we mean by physics. Okay, and of course, you don't have to write the exact, even you'll notice that each time I just said that, I said the word slightly differently, but the key four words that I said the same every time are measurable, reproducible, mathematically analyzable, and predictable. Now, I'm going to pause for a second. This is almost just like a test of us getting to know each other. There's a reason I'm giving you that's my overall sense of what physics is. Part of why I'm telling you that right now. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. I'm telling you that right now, partly because I want you to know there's going to be a big difference between Physics 203 and 204. Many people find Physics 204 more mathematically challenging. They find the material more abstract. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to warn you, 203 is kind of the ramp up, and then 204 kind of is already ramped up. But there's a lot in common between the two, and it helps to know that right from the outset. One thing that's in common between 203 and 204 is every rule I tell you today about expectations or grading systems or exams, how we do things, I promise you is the same in 203 and 204. 99% chance you're going to have me as your 204 instructor. Generally speaking, no one else teaches it besides me. Things can happen, but and even if it's not me, we do things the same in both courses. So if I spend all of today kind of laying out things that are a little bit boring, but are sort of how the course works and all that, just to also please know that they all apply to not just to this whole semester, but to the next 2 semesters, assuming you stay with us, in this program and all of that. Okay. And it will be me. And one of those things is that these next 2 courses are all about stuff moving through space and time, literally kilograms moving through meters and seconds. It is that simple. It is that simple. It's literally 3 elements: things, space, and time. Does that mean that it's always easy? No. Does physics have a reputation of being hard? Yes, it has a reputation of being hard. In my heart, do I think it needs to be as hard as people seem to sometimes think that it is? No, I don't. I think physics can be a lot easier and more approachable than sometimes people think it is. But I also know that physics sneaks up on people. The one thing that's hard about physics and I hope it doesn't get hard for you. We're going to talk about that. I'm here to try as best as possible to make it as approachable and educational as possible for you. I'm not here to play hide the ball. I'm not here to break you down. This is not boot camp. This is, I love physics and I want to share it with you. And the only way I can share physics with you is to get you to be good at it. Literally. So I think it can be easier than you might think, than some of you might think, or maybe than some of you had an experience with it in high school. Maybe. Now, some of you might have rocked it, by the way. I'm very aware of that too. And some of you might be all pumped up, and that's cool too. But for any of you who has any kind of a tentative feeling about physics, let me say that when it's hard, if and when it's hard, it's often because it's hard in an unexpected way. It's not that it's actually harder than chemistry or bio. It's like actually not in many ways. But in order to get to physics, like I was mentioning before, you guys had to work so hard and develop such muscles and such skills in high school and in the last couple of years to get through these enormous bio courses and these enormous chemistry courses. You had to develop and flex a lot of muscle. And I'm not kidding. To get here, you had to deal with some super complex material. Bio and chem can be really, really complex. So many of you might have gotten really, really good at dealing with really complex things. And what you might be expecting, what some people mistakenly sometimes expect, is that if physics is going to be harder, it must be even more complex than what you've already dealt with. That is not the case. Complex. I mean, I don't think it's the case. Complex. And again, this is both to encourage you and also to warn you. Complex is not the opposite. Sorry, let me say this again. Simple is the opposite of complex. Easy is the opposite of hard. Hard is not the opposite of simple, and complex is not the opposite of easy. They are two different ideas. To be complex is not necessarily to be hard. What I mean by that, very quickly, and then there was something going on in the chat that I want to talk about in a second too, that I'm very happy about. But let me just quickly say, complex means many, many parts. Simple means very few parts. If I were to, and I'm not going to do this now because I'm going to try to save time, but an example, if I were to ask everybody, right, just, you don't have to, you can participate in the chat for this if you want, but if I were to ask you, define a unicorn, what is a unicorn? Actually, I guess I am asking you. You could do it in the chat though. Because I'm a little worried about that. If you feel like it, in the chat or in the direct chat, give me a definition of a unicorn. And I'm not putting on, I don't care if you're right or wrong. You'll see, you'll get points either way. Okay. I can see, this is going to be a fun semester. I can see that already. All right. Wait, I'm going to wait till I get at least one more. Oh, cool. Okay. I was going to say, and I like Christopher's response, but I'm going to wait till he doesn't represent necessarily the whole group. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Great. This is great. Oh, and look how fast it's all happening now. Oh, this is awesome. Okay. And yes, some of these responses are funnier than all right. Some of them are very funny. Okay, awesome. And by the way, this all proves that you're still with me. You're going to see again also, like screenshot whatever you just wrote. You're going to see, if you don't already, there's one portal called for right or for wrong, which means if you put an answer in the chat, I don't care whether it's right or wrong, if you had the guts to put something that could potentially have been called right or wrong, you can submit that in a portal and you get points for it. And every day, as many times as you do it, you can submit. You'll also notice that there's a portal for specifically wrong answers. It's called Be Wrong, Be Really, Really Wrong, or something like that. We'll talk about that in a minute too. It might surprise some of you, but some of you can this question, I don't really think there's like a wrong answer to, but if I were asking you a math question, like a strict physics question right now, and you all put a bunch of answers in, you all get points for the guts of putting in the answer. But I will tell you right now that if any of those answers, if I literally said, okay, that's wrong, it's velocity, not speed, or something like that, or if I said Christopher's wrong because there's no party, which I'm not saying that, like you could double dip. You could not only put this response into the right or wrong portal, but you could also put it into the wrong portal. You get extra points for wrong answers that you put in the chat. Let me say that again. From here on in, if you put a wrong answer, an answer that is deemed publicly wrong, or it doesn't have to be public actually, if it's deemed wrong, you get extra points for being wrong. And I mean extra because you could have already double dipped and put it in the portal for right or for wrong. We will talk about, and I'm not kidding about that. That's one of many things that you might think is a weird gift or a weird mechanism that you could easily take advantage of. You could. We'll talk about it. But I'm saying right now, I'm such a believer in making this human and participating and experimenting and trying and risking that I give extra points when people are actually willing to be wrong. Does that mean you could take advantage of the fact and keep putting in a bunch of fake? I'm talking to Christopher right now. Does that mean that Christopher, just to pick someone, could he like every day on purpose put in like 10 ridiculous wrong answers in the chat and then submit them all into the wrong portal just to like rack up a ton of points for being publicly wrong, for being wrong 10 times a day? Yes, he could. Is there a catch? Yes, there is a catch, but I won't get to that just yet. But I am that serious that you get points for being wrong. The basic reason is I don't want you to be afraid of being wrong. I think we're all cursed as achieved, strong science students and scientists. We're all cursed with a fear of being wrong, especially publicly. And that is really problematic if we think we're going to be researchers or experimenters or true scientists who are actually trying to take risks and figure things out. We want to get over the fear of getting wrong. So you get points for being wrong in this class, not on exams. Not on exams. We'll get to that too. But just so you know, now, pigeons are, I don't even get that. Wait, oh, the moonlight. Oh, funny. Okay. All right. Look, challenge accepted. I'm going to talk more about this, but if nothing else, it's showing that you're paying attention to me. Though all the ridiculous wrong answers that were just, except I'm sorry, I'm going to have to, the moon landing is fake. That's not wrong. That's true. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you why, but don't think I didn't go through that concern myself. Anyway, all the wrong answers that are sort of a joke or whatever, putting right now, you could put them in the wrong portal. I will not go back on my promise. You'll hear the catch later, but go for it. You'll get points for that. If nothing else, it's showing that you have a sense of humor and that you're blah, 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 blah. Anyway, now, what pigeons is hilarious, but oh, Amanda, that was, wow. That's a bank shot right there. You see what she just did, right? She's like, being wrong in a way that shows me like she wouldn't have done that unless she really knew that that wasn't wrong. She's like doing a popular physics misconception. So she's getting points for being wrong, but like underneath the surface, showing me how much she actually already knows about it. That's I mean, I got to open up a portal for that mind game, but cool. But I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm trying to be silly, but I'm not, if you know what I mean. All right. One thing I want to say about all this, and there's a reason I brought up the unicorn. I'll go back to unicorn in a second. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Let me finish this unicorn point, and then there still was something in the chat. No, all right, I'm actually going to say this too. Before the unicorn thing started, which I will go back to. Hold on, I'm going to pause for a second. Have I lost you? Just raise your hand if you're still with me, even though this is all nonlinear and all that. Are you still with me? Okay, awesome. All right. Is it always like this? Yes, kind of, but usually we have equations to keep us grounded. Okay, cool. Thank you. So look, I'm going to get back to the why I'm talking about unicorns. But first, I do want to say that in the chat, before I brought up the unicorns and I was saying what physics is about, just as like my summary of physics, then someone in the private chat asked me to repeat it again. Totally reasonable. And they can double dip that into the portal that says, can you go back? Totally reasonable. It shows they're paying attention. There's no one should be embarrassed about that. But I totally understand why I was in the private chat. So, okay. So they asked me to go back and repeat it. So I did. Now, two things. Then, after I did that, even without my asking, that person in the private chat then wrote something like, thank you, or that's good, got it, thanks. Something like that. Now, that's awesome. That makes a big difference because you can see with me, I'm just going to keep talking unless someone stops me, or I'm just going to keep going unless, like, I don't know if my communication landed with the person so it's really helpful when a person says, got it, thanks, you can move on now. That's helpful to everybody, right? So there's a portal for that. That's called closing a conversational path. If you ask for something if you ask for something or some clarification or something, but then like I've actually answered it or I've given you what you need, if you can acknowledge and say, yep, now I'm good, thank you, we can go on. That's super helpful. Remember, in a real class, like there'd be eye contact to take care. And with some of you right now, there is, which I appreciate. But also, I'm really bad at eye contact. Like I look at the ceiling while I'm talking. So it's really helpful to do that. So that's a portal, closing a conversational path. You get points every time you do that. I just want to make. Also, in terms of the direct chat, in terms of the direct chat, let me make this clear too. I'm a big believer in it. As you can see, I try to stop. I try, as soon as I see it, I try to stop and deal with it. I mean, maybe I'll like wait a minute, but I totally try to deal with the chat. I believe in particular, the direct chat is one of the few benefits of this whole crazy Zoom world. Like if you really think about it, direct chat is the one thing we can never, ever reproduce in a live classroom. Because yes, in a live classroom, you could call a professor over in the middle of class and say, come here, come here, come here. And then you like bend down and like whisper something in the professor's ear, and maybe no one else will hear what you're whispering. But of course, everybody will see you do that. So how awkward is that? And everybody then knows that you did have some private need, which defeats the whole purpose, right? The fact that you guys can reach out to me privately without anybody even knowing you're doing it, I think is a major benefit to you. And I absolutely think you should take advantage of it. How I handle the direct chat is, if I think there's something in the direct chat that could benefit everybody, oh, I will address it publicly. Like I might even sometimes paraphrase or read the question out to everybody. But what I won't do is say the person's name. Just to be clear, that's my view of direct chat. The content, if it's personal, then it's personal. But if it's like could help everybody, I will address the content, but I just won't say the person's name. That's just so you know. So please use it. Like I think, whatever. Okay. All right. So now back to the unicorn. Back to the unicorn. Why am I talking about a unicorn? Just to quickly say, okay, I just asked you for definitions of unicorns, and I got a lot of different ones, and some of them were hilarious, and they were all clever, but there was like but they were all fast. Notice this. I asked for unicorn, and I got responses like boom, right? And there was like a theme throughout them. Like a lot of them were like imaginary horse with a horn on top of its head or something like that, or a horse with a horn and magical or something, right? Basically, you all have a pretty similar conception of a unicorn, and you weren't, and even though a unicorn's imaginary, even though it's not even a real thing, so far as I know, still no one was like, what? Like you weren't like, why are you at what? You just like all answered, right? Now, here's the thing. This is a risk, and I'm looking, yeah, most of them are someone's imaginary. Okay, demon. Anyway, 1 + 1 = 3. Sorry, I'm just reading. Now I'm going to ask you a different question. Since a lot of you said like a unicorn is a horse with a horn on top of its head, now I'm going to ask, what's a horn? Could you put in the chat? What's a horn? Okay. I want you to notice something. And this is not okay. Okay, I'm looking. I see. Okay. Okay. So I'm seeing a cone shape that's pointy, a cone-shaped mass. Like a pointy thing that's cone-shaped. A horn is a hard bone type that's shaped in a cone, a round, hollow shape that can come from an animal, a cone-shaped mass, a cone or a spike. Now, here's what I'm not saying any of these are wrong, but I want to point out something. I mean, I think they're probably all right, actually. I mean, I think they're all very knowledgeable, but I want you, and this is not a scientific, this was, informal. This is not like a rigid scientific test. But I dare say that when I asked for horn, there was a longer pause. When I asked for horn, there was a longer pause before I got responses. And I say this with total respect, I hope he understands. Notice that Christopher didn't even make a joke this time. Christopher is probably the straightest answer, and I'm saying that with honestly as a compliment, but it was probably the straightest answer Christopher has given yet this class. Like he just took it to, he's like a cone. He like didn't, and notice that all the other answers that came in, which I think are all great, but came in kind of slowly. Like there was definitely a beat before these answers came in. They're all very different, right? I mean, some people got biological, like some people got into bones and like animals, other people didn't. And then one person even literally wrote and this is not a criticism, this is an observation, but one of you, Yavi, whose name I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, Yavi literally wrote in the chat, which is perfect as far as I'm concerned. It shows that there's a little bit more of a like, huh? To this question. And notice the answers started getting actually very complicated. I mean, and this is again, like, look, oh my God, I don't even, wait. Oh my God, okay. Elweli's answer is amazing. Oh, I think maybe she's back to unicorns on this, but it happened after I asked about horns. Look how complicated some of these answers got, like a round hollow shape that can come from an animal. A horn is a hard bone type that's shaped in a cone. A pointy thing that's cone shaped. And then Elweli, who like practically published a dissertation here, and I'm saying that with respect again. And I'm not, she might be talking about unicorns on horns, but look how kind of complicated things got, or look how hard things got when asked about a horn. What is my point? Obviously, this is just an analogy. This is just a silly, lighthearted example. But what I'm trying to say is this to everybody. Complex things are made of, and you may want to write this down. Complex means many parts. Simple means few parts. To analyze something, remember we said like motions that are analyzable mathematically or physics, like to analyze something like in science, to analyze something, I'm sure you've heard this before, to analyze means to split into constituent parts, right? I mean, both literally, like in chemistry, like when you literally analyze, like you can physically analyze like substances, but in our brain, in our mind, when we analyze thoughts, I think you know this from prior courses, when we analyze, we are breaking things apart into parts, as opposed to when we synthesize, when we're bringing parts together, right? So just think about this for a minute. When we analyze stuff, we're breaking into parts. That means that when things have a lot of parts, they might be really intimidating. They might require a lot of like labor and thought and time, like biology and chemistry. Like there might be a lot of details to manage when something's complex. But in order to analyze it or get your mind around it or to deal with it, what you do is you dive in and you start breaking apart all those details and managing them. Now, a lot of people are left by the wayside. As you know, if you're, as I've mentioned, and I mean it, if you are in this class at all, that means you got through, first of all, you chose to have a science major. Well, that already separates you, that means you chose to give up your life and your weekends, basically, unlike all your other friends and other majors at this college, with all due disrespect. But then you like got through all the huge amounts of work and detail management of bio and chem. Congratulations. I don't even think I could do that at this point. So you learned and means you're like part of the 10% or whatever of the population that really could handle managing these enormous amounts of details and somehow budgeting your time and your priorities and your stuff in order to do it. And I'm saying all this again, like as praise, like congratulations for already getting this far. But the thing is, in physics, it's not complex. This is what surprised people assume it's going to be just even more hard in the same way as chemistry and bio. They assume, some people sometimes expect it's going to be more hard in the same way. It's not. It's a left turn, physics. You might already maybe be gathering that from the tone of this class today. Physics is a left turn. We are not about complexity in physics, not at this stage. We are about stuff in space and time. That is super simple. It's 3 parts. All of physics comes down to those 3 parts: stuff in space and time. The thing is, that means we're trying to get our minds around what the heck is space? What the heck is time? What do we mean by stuff? There's not as many places to hang our hats. The thing that hopefully won't be tricky at first, but might eventually become tricky in physics, I just want to warn you, is it's not complicated. I'm not going to give you a lot of equations to memorize or a lot of formulas to take away. You're not going to walk away from this course with a whole big new set of information in a way that will be a relief to many of you. But for others of you, it may be a little jostling. You're not going to be expected to do a lot of information management. You're going to be expected to get your minds around concepts that are very fundamental and don't have a lot of parts. We're going to have to get our mind around velocity, our mind around acceleration, and we're going to have to take very seriously the idea that these definitions they don't go broad, but they go deep. And that's what we're here to do. So this is just partly to say this might be easier than you think for some of you. There's not going to be a lot of stuff. But for some of you, if you're expecting to just keep using the same mental biceps that you've been using in chem and bio, you may have to be prepared that it's you have to go to a triceps or whatever the analogy. You have to go a different turn. It's going to be more like trying to define horn than trying to define unicorn here, for whatever it's worth. Okay, wait. Oh, we don't. That's okay. I see the chat. Okay, that's hilarious what Christopher and Amanda said. All right, fine, fair enough. Okay, and look, fair enough. So let me go on. All right, but that's just an overview of what the deal. But that's an overview of the deal. Okay. The rest of these pages on the screen right now, there's a couple more pages of the screen. But let me say, instead of I want to shift gears here. So let me also tell you how this class works. whatever, I encourage you to take notes beyond just what I write down on my screen. But the bare minimum of what happens in any class is whatever's happening on my whiteboard. Like that's where we're going to go over problems and all that kind of stuff. At the end of every class, I will upload this a PDF of these notes to the Google Classroom. In fact, so even these last couple of pages that I'm not covering right now, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You might know it already. But this whole 6-page whiteboard right now is going to be is a PDF. It will be uploaded to your Google Classroom when we're done. And that's a good segue for me to start talking about the Google Classroom like right now and talking about what homework you have due Wednesday. Oh, cool. Now, great question, Avani. I was literally just deciding whether to say that now or not. Okay, Avani's question is perfect. So yes, so her question is, will the recording of this meeting also be uploaded? Absolutely. So in fact, the answer is absolutely yes. I mean, that takes a little more time. It has to decode or whatever and stuff. So that will happen like not a minute after the class, but that'll happen a few hours after the class. But yes, let me switch screens right now and look at your Google Classroom that it seems like if there's, I think everybody I believe everybody in this room with me right now did actually join the Google Classroom, right? It looks like, right? I think, okay, great. Just wait, raise your hand if you have ever used Google Classroom before in like high school or anything. A lot of you. Okay, some of you. A lot of you. Great. Oh, no. And some of you have not. Okay, totally understood that some of you have not. Thank you for your honesty. Okay. But Elwelly, if not to put you on the spot, but I see you're saying no, like you haven't used it before. But did you? Well, I guess I'll know in a second. But were you able to use the join link and join this Google Classroom successfully?
No, Prof. Sir.
Oh, okay. So we're going to help you with that. Even ideally, I'm going to help you with that by the end of this class. But even if we will, okay, all right. Maybe some of your classmates will be able to help you in a minute too, but we'll get you up to speed. So to everybody, let me back up for a second. I appreciate Elwelly's honesty, and he's not the only one. I mean, for any one person, I mean, he's not the only one. Let me make it clear that we made a decision years ago in physics. We use Google Classroom instead of Blackboard. I know that means now you have another platform to deal with another professor who thinks he knows better than your other professors. I know that's super annoying for you to have to deal with more than one platform. And I sympathize with that, which is why we'll have time for everybody to get ramped up and up to speed with this. I recognize that in some ways it's easier just for you all to be on one platform. Nonetheless, we've found that even with a little bit of ramp up time and a little bit of generosity, like a little bit of understanding at the beginning that people need to get ramped up, over the 2 semesters of physics, Google Classroom is a much smoother, more rewarding, better platform for us all to use for physics and for the labs and all of that. So to be for good or for bad, let me make it clear. Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. But seriously, to Elwell or to anybody who hasn't used it before, or anybody who just honestly feels like maybe it's better, but I don't want to be dealing with more than one thing. Like I totally get that. I really do. And there will be compassion and like patience built into the system. But I will say it is true. We don't use Blackboard at all. From here on in, I will never check Blackboard again for any purpose. And the thing that will be sitting in Blackboard is just that link to this Google. So you can always open Blackboard and use it as a way to get you to Google Classroom. But just to be clear, once we all get up to speed, from here on in, it is all about Google Classroom. Okay. And I think you may come to find, well, I'm glad that but again, great. Awesome, LA. All right, that saves on. And all of you can submit all this report. Okay, great. Okay. But even those of you who are being quiet and being quietly afraid right now, I get it. What we're going to spend like the next 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah, we have 20 minutes in class. My goal is to get you all set up. And my goal is to have you in a position where you can do the first homework assignment that is, in fact, due on Wednesday. I do want to make it clear, what I'm expecting and what you're supposed to do for Wednesday, the first real physics homework. But I also ideally want to have you turn in the first participation homework right here, right now in front of me, so that we can test that this is all working and we all know what's going on. That's the ideal, but I know we only have 20 minutes left. If nothing else, let me make clear to you right now. Yes, there is homework due Wednesday. And yes, it's ultimately worth 20 points. And yes, I have to tell you how all the points work and the grading works and all that, and I will. And yes, my goal is for you to actually turn in your best attempt at this homework for Wednesday. But I'm telling you right now, that no matter what, as long as you make an attempt at what's called homework 1 number line, as long as you make an attempt and turn something in for Wednesday, even if you don't get the full 20 points right on the first attempt, consider it a first draft. Everybody in this room who wants to will eventually get all 20 points on the first homework. Like, even if it takes us a couple of uploads or a couple of revisions or drafts. Okay. So in other words, I'm going to try my best to get everybody equipped and ready for Wednesday here. But the thing I want to get across to you is no axe is going to fall tonight. If you come in Wednesday and you've just tried to hand in the homework, you'll be good. We'll discuss it. I'll show you what I need that might be different from what you thought, and you'll upload a revision, like another draft, and eventually, and I don't care how many times it takes, eventually everybody who wants to will get all full 20 points on the first homework. Is that, raise your hand if that's clear? Is that okay? Okay, cool. So I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes trying to get you set for that. But again, like but whatever I don't get to today, we'll get to then. So I'm going to switch screens now. I'm going to switch, sharing screens. And this will enable, I'm going to show you the Google Classroom now. Oh, did I lose it? Of course I lost it. Hang on one second. Hold on. I want to sort of walk you through quickly what the Google Classroom thing looks like on my side. It'll get you more used to it. And that will address some questions, such as, will this recording be uploaded? Yes, it will. You'll see where in a second. All right, let me go back. Upload. Okay. So what you're seeing now, I think what you're seeing now is how the Google Classroom looks on my side. It's a little different on your side, but basically this is what it looks like on my side, right? Right. Okay. First, there's the Zoom link. Again, we'll get the same Zoom all the time. Then you'll see YouTube classes. Okay. That's right there. The one link that you see on your side. I mean, anything that's gray on my side means I haven't uploaded it yet for you. So ignore the gray things. But you see on there's my YouTube channel link there. Go to it at your leisure. You will see every class, every session of this class. When it's done, we're going to upload to YouTube to a playlist called P203 Fall 23 Afternoon section. Okay, there's going to be a whole playlist where all the classes that we do are all in order in that playlist. They're for your benefit, obvious, and you can consult them at any time for classes that went too fast or classes that you missed or blah 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 blah. But also, you'll notice that the other and each time I upload a class to the YouTube channel, I'll put the link right here in your Google Classroom, so I'll be direct. So you'll be just getting those uploads along with the notes every day, every class day. You'll also notice that there's playlists from this class for like going back every semester since the beginning of COVID. You are welcome to check out any videos from any of that. If I say something unclearly, if you don't understand what I'm talking about one day, because I'm off the rails, check out another version of the same class. I might have said it more clearly. All of that is meant to be for your benefit and support. You can consult all of those things before exams, blah, 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 during exams. We'll talk about that. Of course, you can also go to Khan Academy, all those other places. It's all fair game. But if you want to specifically know what's specifically going on in this class, it's this YouTube channel. Now, nobody else really looks at it besides John Jay people. I mean, why would they? But yes, it is. But I understand that. And the syllabus, sorry, yes. So the syllabus, all right, I'll keep going. So anyway, that's the YouTube channel. And if you do check out a YouTube ever, or you subscribe or something like that, you screenshot it, there's a portal for you getting points just for using the YouTube channel. Okay. Someone just asked, is the syllabus in the Google Classroom? Yes, it is. I'll just scroll quickly so you can see. The syllabus is under a section. All of this stuff that I'm scrolling through right now is under classwork. You'll get used to this as you get used to Google Classroom. Yeah, it's all under classwork. Again, it looks slightly different on your side, but only slightly. The syllabus is under tools. Then there's a thing right after the syllabus called the 5-step method. Now, ideally, I was going to walk you through it today, but I never do get to it on the first day. You should check it out on your own. You might have questions, but what that is, we will talk about it explicitly on Wednesday. That is the 5-step method for solving problems, for showing work and thought process in physics for the next 2 semesters. I have a lot to say about it. but it's how you do work, it's the expected format or rubric for how you solve problems and turn in exams in physics for the next 2 semesters. Again, I will walk you through it in detail on Wednesday, but you should check it out tonight. And when you attempt to do, so I'm skipping around a little bit here. I apologize. Stop me in the chat if I'm going too fast or too. You'll see here homework 1D kinematics, homework 1, meaning this is like the normal section of normal homework, of physics homework. The first one, it's called homework 1 number line, right, is due Wednesday. Wait, there's something else in the chat. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much, direct chat person. Okay, so there's this homework called number line. It's worth, I think, 20 points. Well, and you'll see, like, there's a, yeah, well, okay, so it's open. I don't know if this is worth it, but you'll see it's a homework sheet that will open up in a moment on your side. What you're going to do for Wednesday, you're going to attempt to turn in this assignment. We haven't talked about it yet at all. I know that. All the knowledge you need to do this assignment, it's all about definitions and applying them. All the definitions you need are right here in the assignment. You don't need to look at a textbook. And this is always true. Like, you can consult any other resource you want, including Khan Academy or whatever. But in principle, you should have all the knowledge you need to solve this, to work through this problem right here in the sheet. Now, if somehow this garbage comes up in the middle, I don't know why. Right, and honestly, even if you just skip the garbage, you'd still find the sheet clear, I think. But for some reason, that garbage comes up on your side. It doesn't come up. So therefore, right now in the chat, I'm going to put a screenshot of what that garbage is supposed to say. Okay, again, even if this doesn't make sense to you, even if you don't catch what I'm saying, I think you'll still be fine on the sheet. But okay, here we go. Wait, so I'm putting it in the chat right now. I'm trying to put in the chat right now. Come on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you can that's a screenshot, it's an image, whatever. You can download it to your desktop or whatever. That's just to fill in the part. If you see garbage in the middle of the sheet, that's what it says. Now, the sheet is not meant to be hard. It's meant to establish some definitions that we need right at first. The early questions are not meant to be tricks, and they're not meant to be tricks at all. They're meant to be straightforward. A lot of you, I dare say, will be able to answer a lot of these early questions in your head, like in a moment. You will, and that's totally fine. Nonetheless, and to be honest, when you get down to the end of the whole sheet, like the last couple of questions, then you kind of have to think they might be more challenging. Now, first of all, what I'm asking for Wednesday is for you to try your best. Don't get bogged down in whether you get the right answers or not. You'll be able to get all the 20 points eventually, I promise, if you want them. But what you do want to get bogged down in, your focus, even all these questions, the thing that's going to be hard for some of you is that the sheet's going to seem too easy for some of you. Even the questions that you can do in your head, I'm asking you to write out and show all your work according to the 5-step method that you find under tools in the Google Classroom. It may not be 100% clear at first. And even to some of you, it might be clear, but you might hate it. I recognize that. And you can give me your complaints on Wednesday. Some of you will feel like I'm making your life a lot harder than I need to right at first. That is true. I'm asking you to take questions that I think you probably can do in your head and break them down into a 5-step thought process that you're going to reveal on paper. And it will seem like a little extra work to some of you. The reason I'm doing that is that after 30 years of doing this, I believe strongly that the 5-step method is exactly what you need. It's the bare minimum you need in order to know what to do when you don't know what to do, which is what physics eventually starts to feel like. The purpose of the 5-step method is to give you a way to approach problems when you can't immediately solve them in your head, when you don't immediately see the answer or even like the path to the answer, or to be honest, when you start getting the questions where a lot of us would look at the question and go, I don't even freaking know what he's talking about. I don't even understand what this question's saying. That happens a lot in physics, to a lot of us, definitely including me when I was a physics student. So yeah, okay. Oh, great. I'm seeing these questions in the chat. I'm totally going to answer them. Great questions. So I'll just say this quickly. The 5-step method will seem like very unnecessary for right now when you're doing questions that you already know the answer to. The purpose is to practice the method and get it straight so that you have something to use when you get to questions that are not as simple. It's required either way. It's required either way. And it is how we score. It's a grading rubric. It's how we give points both to homework and to exams. So the quick, and I'm totally going to go to the chat, and I know we have 10 minutes left. One quick thing, and again, I'm sort of defensive about this because I know people hate the 5-step method at first. I totally know that, and I understand why. But what the flip side of the 5-step method is, we're so deeply requiring you to show all your work that what we're saying is if you show your work the way that we're asking you to, you will get tons of points for your work, even when and if you don't have right answers. It's a way, if you practice a 5-step method, you'll start seeing that you're getting tons of points on homework, even when you don't feel secure about the answers. And you'll see that that's what will happen on your exam, because what you get points for is these steps. You don't just get points for right or wrong answers. You get points or you lose points for not following the steps. So your first goal, and I will answer the chat thing. Oh, well, cool. Yeah. But actually, Avani is totally right, by the way. But it's a great question. I'm going to answer it. Your goal for this real first physics assignment is, okay, I'm going to back up. This now goes to Avani's question and Christopher's question and Avani's answer. Yeah. What you're going to do for your first draft, you're going to go to Google Classroom. Where did I go? Oh, sorry. I have to erase. You're going to go to Google Classroom. You're going to go to that assignment. You're going to go to view instructions, right? I mean, many of you have done this before. Then most of you, what you're going to do, and please hear this, because this applies to exams as well. Most of you are probably going to take out blank white sheets of paper, and you're going to start doing out the solutions, the steps. You're going to start doing out your work, your responses on blank white sheets of paper. You're not going to write out your answers on the sheet itself. You can print it for your own sake if you want, but you're never going to write out answers on the sheet itself. You're going to create your own blue book, so to speak, right? Like you're going to treat the questions as like a booklet, like an exam booklet, even though this is homework, but same idea. You're going to take out a separate set of sheets of paper. Most of you are going to write out your homework on that sheet of paper, those sheets of paper. Then you're going to scan in those sheets and compile them into one file, one PDF, preferably, ideally a PDF or like a Google Doc, that's fine too. You're going to submit one file of all the work that you did to attempt to answer these questions. You're not going to, and I'm really strict about, it's weird. I'm really unstrict about certain things, really loose about certain, and I'm like bizarrely strict about other things. We'll just all get used to it. But one thing that I'm bizarrely strict about is you're not going to copy and paste my questions and put them on your document in any way. You're not going to write your answers on my document. You're not going to copy paste, and you're not even going to copy word for word, even in your own handwriting, my questions. What you're going to do on your document is you're going to follow the 5-step method, and one of the steps of the method is making the question clear. So you're going to label like you'll write like question 1 or whatever, and you'll have a diagram there, a diagram and fact pattern. Like you'll have a diagram, like I already gave you on the sheet, but sometimes I won't. And then you'll write in your words, you'll write out what the first question is in your words. It could be an abbreviation. It could just be like at t equals 0, v equals question mark or something. But you're going to make it clear in your words that you understand what the question is. Then you're going to do steps of thought, of reasoning. Then you're going to circle your final answer. And your goal is that you will have created a document that stands alone. Your goal, and please hear this, and this is for like real deep reasons, and then it's also for like grading reasons. You'll know you've done this correctly, and some of you might take a couple of chances to do this. If you do it wrong for Wednesday, you won't be punished. You'll get a second chance. But what you ultimately want to know, especially before we have an exam, is that you're trying to produce a document that is independent physics. You're trying to produce a document that I could give to anybody else who knows physics but isn't in this class, that I could give it to like Professor Talley or Professor Walters or whatever and hand them the document. And even if they didn't know the assignment, or even if they didn't have any context of this exercise, they could look at your document and they could sit down and follow it, know whether it's right or wrong, and God forbid, quark forbid, grade it. Do you see what I'm saying? You're trying to produce something that can be evaluated on its own as a piece of physics. So you're integrating our questions into your work and showing that you understand what they are and then answering them. And yes, you're doing it on an independent PDF or Google Doc that you assemble by scanning in a bunch of sheets. I'll say now this is assuming most of us, I know I'm talking really fast, I apologize. I'll pause in a second, but we're also almost out of time. Most of us, including me, still prefer to do like math and physics work like with pencil on paper. So that's why I keep saying you would write it out and then you would scan it in. If you happen to be one of those people that like types things out that is good enough with computers to type out the equations and type out diagrams, all that, but by all means, that's fine. Then when you go to do your homework, I can't show you on my side because I'm not a student, but you can just open a Google Doc and like you can hit plus and you can just start typing out a fresh Google Doc if you want, or a Word doc or whatever, and entering it directly into Google Cloud. That's totally fine. I'm not saying it can't be electronic. It can totally be electronic. The one thing I'm just saying is that each one of you is going to produce a piece of work that shows all your work, that is it's one long set of mini proofs. It's one long set of thought processes that all address my questions, but they don't explicitly copy or paste them or insert themselves on them. That's how you're going to do exams. That's why I'm making a big point of this. So that's what I'm asking for Wednesday for the homework one. You're going to try your best. You might get some answers wrong. It doesn't matter. You might get a lot of things wrong. You'll be able to do it again, but that's what I'm looking for as a first draft. Can you just raise your hand if it's clear what I'm saying, basically? Everybody looks miserable now. All right. They're like, yeah, it's clear and it sucks. Yeah, okay. It kind of does, but it'll suck less as we go. All right. So that's like how to do regular homework again. So you're going to try, and then Wednesday I'm going to walk you through what I was really looking for it. I'll walk you through the physics, and we'll find out if you got it right or wrong, and you'll get another chance. Okay. We still have 3 minutes, and thank you. And you can put your hands down now. One other thing though. So that's how regular homework works and how exams will work. But there's also this whole and every homework you get, like you get points for all these homeworks. Now, I'll tell you the whole grading system probably on Wednesday because it's important and I'm running out of time now. But I promise you that all these points that you get, whether it's homework or participation or what, they all do count for your grade. But whatever you don't do of any of these things, they don't count as zero. They don't lower your grade. All these things just raise your grade. You could call them extra credit if you want. I'll talk more about that Wednesday. But that brings me to this homework zero, this game, points and participation. Okay, this is how this works. This is kind of what I was alluding to before. You'll see every day there's a turn for every day. Like today, game, turn 1, it's worth 5 points. Okay? And there'll be one every day, and it's due at 11:59 tonight. It's due right before midnight because this takes 2 seconds to do. Now, if you never do it, you don't get punished. You just lose the opportunity to get these extra points. But what this is asking you to do, and I'm going to, if you're following me, I'm going to ask you to do this right now to save yourself time. This says, for this, you're going to just submit a document, not a comment in the comments bubble, but like a document with like one sentence or something that just says, today I said hello in the chat. Or one screenshot that just says, like, today I asked a question. You're just going to give me one indication of one way that you participated today, even if it was saying hello at the beginning. And if you haven't said hello yet today or done anything, say hello right now in the chat, like for real, like just write it in the chat. You're going to, and if you're following me, do this right now. You're going to just upload a document and you just write one sentence, like today I said hello in the chat. And then you just hit turn in or whatever that button is. I think it's called turn in. And you're going to turn it into me. If you turn in even one, and you're not trying to prove anything, you're just trying to remind me. If you turn it in before 11:59, and I know we have 1 more minute left, but give it a shot right now if you can. If you turn this thing in before midnight tonight, you'll get it back from me quickly. You'll see like a little red mark, like a check and a smiley face, and you'll get 5 points for that you count. It's like 1 second it's a moment of reflection on your end, and it's a moment of communication on my end, and it just shows that our Google Classroom is working and that we're in the same space. Every day there'll be a turn like that. Just for any way that you participated, you just turn it in. If you turn it in before midnight, you get 5 points. If you turn it in the next day, you get 4 points. After that, it's pointless. Don't bother. But, and I know I have 1 minute left, that's with the turns. Every day there'll be a turn. And if any of you is trying to do it right now, that would be awesome. We'll see if you are. But all the other ones, all the other game things, you'll notice are not due at 11:59. All the other portals I'm trying to go back to right now. Yeah, all the other ones, like speak now, forever hold your chat, closing a conversational path, blah, blah, blah. All those are due December 6th. What's that about? And all of this is optional. You could ignore all of this. And if you can get 95s on all the exams, then Quark bless America and you'll get an A in the class. That's fine. But the point of all of this is that there's more than one way to get an A in this class. And I'd like as many of you as possible to get A's. There's no limit on how many A's there could be. You are not here to compete against one another or against me. You're here to help each other maximize the number of well-earned good grades in this class. I'm dead serious. And so part of all this is there's more than one way. Some of you are test takers, some of you are not. Those of you who are worried about the test or whatever, and I'm just about done. I know it's 4:20. I'm just gonna say this and then we'll wrap. But if you have any questions, you can stay. I'll stay until the last person goes. But in 1 second, you can go. Just notice all of these portals, they're all optional. Like avatar video, anytime that you show a video, like today, so many of you did, just put a screenshot of it in the video portal anytime before December 6th. You'll get points for it. If you do it again tomorrow, do it again tomorrow, and you'll get like the points twice. All of those are portals that can be used at any time for you to register any kind of participation that you want, and they're all just open until the end of the semester. You can use them multiple times. You can double shoot. Honestly, and I'll make this more explained like on Wednesday if there are questions, but tonight all that's due is due turn 1. And if you get it back from me tonight, we'll know we're on the same page. And then what's due Wednesday is the actual homework 1. Homework 1 is worth 20 points. Turn 1 is worth 5 points. You can imagine why. If that's clear, I'm going to stop the share. If it's sort of clear what's going on and you sort of understand that anything that's not clear will clear up Wednesday and no one will be punished. If that's sort of clear and you're sort of okay, then it's been very nice to meet you. You're welcome to leave. I'm going to stay until the last person goes. If there's any question, that's also part of my office hours. I don't leave until the last one of you leaves. So if you have anything that you're concerned about, hang on, I'm still here. But thank you. All right, thank you. Great. Have a good, and I'll also turn off the recording. But thank you. Awesome. It's been great to meet you. I will see you on Wednesday. Oh, perfect.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Great. Thank you. Finally. Oh, I'm looking in the chat. Did I get? Okay, great. Okay, I'm turning off the recording too. Hang on a second.